Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 7 and we will present about Halal Pharmaceutical and its regulation. These are the presenters for today. Firstly, Raja Zulaika Amirah binti Raja Badri Shah. Secondly, Nurul Afiqah binti Mustafa. And thirdly, Muhammad Izzat bin Nur Muhammad.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Afiqah binti Mustafa. And as for introduction, pharmaceutical products are including prescription and non-prescription remedies products to be consumed by humans and verified by the Drug Control Authority, Ministry of Health Malaysia. Absolutely, it is vital to ascertain the medicinal products meet the safety, efficiency and adhere to the hygiene requirements. Undoubtedly, Malaysia is one of the leading countries into spreading the awareness and also the knowledge about the halal pharmaceutical sector. It was proved when Malaysia is the first country to gazette a halal certification for halal pharmaceuticals product in 2012. Despite taking into consideration the elements on halal, the need of complying with other acts and regulations covering the pharmaceutical sectors also must be verified. Therefore, the producers, manufacturers, retailers and consumers should be aware of the requirements on handling the medicinal products, since it contains any drugs that need to be primarily verified and registered by the responsible authorities such as Drug Control Authority and Medicine Advertisement Board.
The objective of the research is, firstly, understanding the concept of halal pharmaceutical and its regulations. Secondly, identifying the regulations on halal pharmaceuticals based on Malaysian law. Thirdly, investigate the issue or information regarding halal pharmaceutical regulation. So now we go to the literature review that we used in our article. So the first article review that we used is Global Halal Industry, Realities and Opportunities, written by MD Siddiq E. Azam and his group in 2020. So based on this article, it said that global halal market is rapidly growing in all over the countries. It has become a public interest as halal demand is increasing not only from Muslim consumers but also non-Muslim consumers are seeking for halal products or services. In addition, halal industry is not limited to food and food-related products, but it is already widely developed in pharmaceutical, cosmetics, and so on. This matter has led the researchers to study the factors that determining such increasing demand for halal industry and also the opportunities offered from recent global halal development in the market. Okay, next, based on Prospects of Halal Pharmaceuticals, written by Tushar Saha and his group in 2019, the awareness on halal pharmaceuticals has been increased and it becomes an important industry as the pharmaceutical products are consuming every day by people and to keep a good health. The researcher on this matter trying to figure out the prospect of halal pharmaceuticals on the issues, importance as well as the regulations implemented on halal pharmaceuticals. The regulations used, for example, Good Manufacturing Practices and MS 2424, which is the general guideline and rule for halal pharmaceutical that need to be referred by halal pharmaceutical industry to comply with all the requirements needed according to Sharia. Based on halal certification of food, nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals in the Arab world, written by Jawad Alzir and his group in 2020, the halal of a product depends on the basic ingredients used, the way it is processed, the way it is executed and also how it is handled. The halal certificate plays a role in determining that the product is halal, pure and safe for consumers, especially Muslim consumers. The increasing awareness among consumers about the halal status of food and pharmaceutical products makes them confident and believe in using halal products. Therefore, the researcher made a study related to halal requirements, halal standards and Islamic views on the ingredients used in a product. In regards to that, the general concept of halal is also included in order to know the basic rule for halal requirements.
This is the literature review for my part. So the first article is Pharmaceutical and Cosmeceutical Marketing and Advertising in Malaysia, an overview of current governing laws and regulations by Muhammad Azmi, Ahmad Hasali and Sadia Shakil. So based on this article, the writers stress the regulations and law enacted relating to pharmaceutical and cosmetic products. The summary of the provisions of the Act and regulations denotes all of the gazette documents become a guidance for the manufacturer in making a new product. Instead of that, this article also discusses the content of ethical manner in advertising the products. All the advertisement sources must refer to the Medicine Advertisement and Sale Act 1956 and must be verified by Medicine Advertisement Board (MAB). Halal logo in the advertisement then must be verified by JAKIM to avoid confusion from customers. The second part that I use in my part is regulatory control of herbal and traditional medicines in Malaysia, issues and concerns by Suzy Fadila Ismail, Ida Madiha Abdul Ghani Azmi et al. 2020. This article highlighted on the baseless and unsubstantiated claims towards traditional products. Since many people perceive that traditional and herbal medicines are safe guaranteed, then they are easily trusted with false advertisement. Therefore, stringent action should be taken by the responsible authority in controlling the misleading statement and false testimony made by the producers. In Malaysia, there is still little clinical proven made towards the traditional and herbal medicines. Nonetheless, many complaints were received that can cause adverse effects of consuming it. This is because there is an addition of another drug contained in that product. Okay, next, the third article that I use in my part is a survey on knowledge of registered drugs amongst patients from the Specialist Clinic Malaysia by Nur Wahidah Zulkifli, Muhammad Amin Muhammad Yunus, Muhammad Fakarul Razli Mohammed Mustafa et al. 2019. So, basically on this article, the writers explain the awareness of the registered medicines to the Malaysian citizens. A survey that has been conducted between the control groups mean not receiving counselling and intervention groups mean after receiving the counselling indicate the level of knowledge towards registered drugs. The majority of people acknowledge registered drugs, however, a few of them do not know the Meditech applicable to ascertain the registered products. Therefore, Know Your Medicine campaign is to spread awareness towards people of the significance of knowing the medicine that we consume. It is one of the ways to avoid consumers from buying counterfeit products.
First article is Preventive Medicines and Maqasid Al-Shariah, the Case of COVID-19 by Ramzi Bendebka 2020. So, Maqasid Shariah becoming the main objective of Islamic law, which can be described as preserving the 5 basic principles, which is preserving religion, preserving life, preserving intellect, lineage, and also property. So, Maqasid Shariah is divided into 3 levels, which is Daruriyat, Hajiyat, and also Tahsiniyat. So, one of the important elements in order to determining Islamic laws Maqasid Shariah. So, Maqasid Shariah has become one of the element or one of the instrument to develop Islamic law or Sharia law. So, during this pandemic, COVID-19, the relationship between Maqasid Shariah and the needs of preventive medicines can be seen really clearly, which is the approach of Maqasid Shariah, which determine what should be protected. Okay, so finding the preventive medicines, which is vaccine, and so it becomes one of the primary purposes during this era. So preventing, so this is so the relationship between pandemic COVID-19 and Maqasid Shariah is preserving life. Second article is the importance of halal certified product in Samarinda City in the light of Maqasid Al-Shariah by Maisarah Rahmi Hassan 2019. So, the terms of halal pharmaceuticals implemented Maqasid Shariah will lead to the produce of halal medicines that will give benefits to Muslims. So, halal certification has become one of the major factors that Muslims use to choose the product, which is known as safety, as product that is safe, comfort, and also guaranteed to be healthy and also clean product. Okay, as we all acknowledge that halal product is produced according to Sharia, which does not contain any element that is considered harmful, intoxicant, and also hazardous, and also something that elicits that's considered as illicit goods in manufacturing processes. So hence, halal provisions in food, medical, cosmetics, and others in existing legislations and standards are basically to protect Muslim consumers against non-halal products such as MS 1500, MS 2424, and also Food Act and Food Regulations, Food Act 1983 and Food Regulation 1985. Okay, now let's move on to my last articles that I will present, which is Traditional Islamic Medicines and Remedies by Eddine Dadach, 2019. So the Prophet Muhammad SAW said that Allah did not create a disease for which He did not also create a cure. So as a Muslim, we must trust the saying of Prophet about the remedies, and we are obliged to seek the remedies or cure for the disease. This is aligned with the Maqasid Syariah, which is the preservation of life. So Islam did not oppose any of their believers to seek any forms of medicine, whether it is traditional medicines or also modern medicines. So Muslim often explores the medicines of Prophet because the traditional medicines are often referring to the Atib an-Nabawi. So the Atib an-Nabawi are considered as alternative to modern therapies or as a supplement to modern medical treatment. So additional to this idea, author advised that everyone that seeks traditional remedies as an alternative shall consult with the medical professionals before consuming or attempting any remedies.
So now we go to the objective one, which is the concept of halal pharmaceuticals. So firstly, we have to know what is the definition of halal pharmaceuticals. Halal pharmaceuticals are drug products that are derived from a permissible source such as animals, plants, organic and inorganic substance. The method of preparation, manufacturing and extraction are all in accordance to Sharia. Basically, halal term must concluded with tayyib, which means clean, pure, as well as the product produced based on halal standard processes and procedures. Therefore, halal pharmaceutical product is not only focused on the halal ingredients, but it should also be tayyib in all steps of the process of the product which based on Sharia in order to reach the high quality outcome of halal pharmaceutical product. Then we can also refer to MS 2424 that give the complete meanings and requirements for halal pharmaceuticals. So it described halal pharmaceutical is products that contain ingredients permitted under the Sharia law, and fatwa, which is do not contain any parts or products of animals that are non-halal, or any parts or products of animals which are not slaughtered according to Sharia law and fatwa, and also do not contain najas according to Sharia law and fatwa, and then safe and efficacious for human use according to prescribed dosage of quality and hygiene, as well as not prepared, processed or manufactured using equipment contaminated with najas according to Sharia, and do not contain any human parts or its derivatives that are not permitted by Sharia law and fatwa. And the last one is during the preparation, processing, handling, packaging, storage and distribution, the halal pharmaceutical products are physically segregated from any other pharmaceutical products that do not meet the requirements stated in items above, or any other items that have been decreed as non-halal and najas by Sharia law and fatwa. So what is the importance of halal pharmaceuticals? As a human being, health is the prior thing we should concern about. A good health is a gift from Allah to us. We are responsible to take a very good care of our own health. So the importance of halal pharmaceuticals can be assessed through several things. Firstly, as we already know that all Muslims are obligated to choose and consume halal production. Therefore, halal pharmaceutical is important as it is the main option for Muslims to get halal and tayyiban medicine. In Malaysia nowadays, halal pharmaceutical industry becomes bigger, and so many companies of pharmaceutical have produced halal medicine. For example, a big company like Pharmaniaga and Duo Pharma. So here, the halal pharmaceutical is known for its ingredients based from halal sources. Therefore, Muslims put a faith on halal pharmaceutical and can be more preferable to consume medicine which comes from halal certified company instead of medicine from non-halal company. Secondly, Muslim countries recently start demanding halal certificates for products coming from non-Muslim countries. This is because many people already aware that halal products come from clean, pure and halal-based ingredients, as well as the processing is undergoing with clean, pure and halal method. Another word is it is guaranteed pure and safe to consume by all Muslims, including non-Muslims as well. Therefore, many people nowadays are seeking for halal medicine as they acknowledge and aware the true halal standard implemented for halal production. So according to that, halal certifying bodies is increasing an endeavour to improve halal guidelines to comply perfectly with Sharia. Malaysia has prepared many standards and regulations for halal industry, including Halal Pharmaceutical as a guide to preserve halal standard of a production, manual procedure for Malaysia halal certification, which is known as MPPHM, is the main reference for all the company who want to apply halal certification. Besides, there are also Malaysian standard for halal pharmaceutical, which is known as MS2424. It specifies the general requirements in the manufacturing and handling of halal pharmaceuticals. Then the other things that in the concept of halal pharmaceutical is maslahah daruriyah in medicine. In Islam, maqasid Sharia is the main objective of Islamic law in preserving the 5 basic principles of preserving religion, life, intellect, lineage and property. Maqasid Sharia is a pillar in strengthening the path of an individual's life towards a prosperous and excellent life. Maqasid Sharia is divided into 3 levels, which are daruriyah, emergency needs, hajiyah, secondary needs, and tahsiniyah, perfecting. The principles of maqasid Sharia encompass the whole idea in all aspects of life, starting from the smallest things to the biggest things. It is also one of the important elements that are taken into account in the process of determining some Islamic laws for current legal issues and problems. Islamic scholars and scientists have explained the definition of maqasid Sharia, and one of them is a well-known Islamic scholars, which is Al-Ghazali, which define maqasid Sharia by stating that the very objective of the Sharia is to promote the well-being of the people, which lies in safeguarding their faith, their lives, their intellect, their posterity and their wealth. Whatever ensures the safeguarding of these 5 serves public interests and is desirable, and whatever hurts them is against public interest and its removal is desirable. And then according to Al-Shatibi, maqasid Sharia defines as determining what is beneficial and what is harmful cannot be left to human reasoning alone, as most secular theories suggested. So from both point of view, we can conclude that Islam promoted well-being and healthy life by prioritizing the objective of maqasid Sharia in our life. In terms of halal pharmaceutical, implementing maqasid Sharia will lead to produce the halalan thayyiban products outcome, which is the halal medicine that will give benefit to Muslims. In this case, halal certification take place to regard halal product as it encompasses the necessary of maqasid Sharia. Halal certification has become a major interest for Muslims to choose a product because it is known as a safety, comfort and guarantee product. And then halal provisions in food, medical, cosmetic and others in existing legislation and standards are basically to protect Muslim consumers against non-halal products. Although the law requires halal certification, but according to the needs of Muslims, it is necessary that is categorized as a maslahah for Muslims. Therefore, here we can see that the provision of halal certificate is in line with the requirements of maqasid Sharia. Okay, now we go to the concept of medicine from haram sources in perspective of Islam. So Islam encourage Muslims to seek for treatment or cure whenever we fall sick, and halal medicine is most preferable. However, if we are not able to find treatment or cure with medicine which contain halal substance, then we are allowed to use medicine which contain haram substance if it is the only way to cure the disease. So this is based on maqasid Sharia that has been mentioned before, which we have to preserve our life, whereas to avoid harm and bring benefits to human beings. Also, Allah has given a rusuh for every matters He created. So here maslahah daruriyah take parts in preserving our life, in which we have to strive to find a cure for a disease, although we have to use haram sources if we do not find the halal medicine. So, based on Dr. Zulkifli Al-Bakri in discussion on Maqasid Syariah in Medicine, he referred to the book of Al-Halal wal-Haram fil Islam written by Sheikh Dr. Yusuf Al-Qardawi. And in that book, there are many principles we can refer to in determining in matters relating to halal and haram. So, among them are what I have been showed here. First, the basic asal, which is principle, refers to the permissibility of things. Second, to make lawful and to prohibit is the right of Allah alone. Third, prohibiting the halal and permitting the haram is similar to committing shirk. Fourth, the prohibition of things is due to their impurity and harmfulness. Fifth, what is halal is sufficient while what is haram is superfluous. Sixth, whatever is conducive to the haram is itself haram. Seven, falsely representing the haram as halal is prohibited. 8. Good intentions do not make the haram acceptable. 9. Doubtful things are to be avoided. And 10. Necessity dictates exceptions. So overall, the principles advocated by the Sheikh Dr. Yusuf Al-Qardawi are very important to be used as a reference and guide for us today to determine a matter related to halal and haram. And these principles also show that Islam does not make human life difficult and complicated, but Islam protects the harmony of one's life from things that are harmful and forbidden by Allah. Okay, now we look into the example of critical materials that have been used in pharmaceutical product. So the first example is jury's opinion regarding insulin for hormones from pig genes. Juries opine regarding the use of porcine insulin to cure diabetes diseases is permissible according to the 6th revision of Fatwa Committee Malaysian National Council of Islamic Affairs held on 10 October 1983. So the reason for the permissibility is during the condition of darurah only. And then the second one is ruling of using vaccine. Juries opine that if the vaccine was made by Tayyiban and purified substances, then it is permissible to use. However, when the source of vaccine is come from non-halal substances, then it categorized into two rulings. The first ruling in using non-halal substances, but still there are another alternative that is prohibited in Islam, because the Prophet said Allah has set down both the disease and the cure. He has appointed a cure for every disease, so treat yourself medically but use nothing unlawful. And then the second ruling is lawful to use vaccine with najas due to absence of another alternative. Allah gives rukhsah for us in this kind of situation in order to preserve maslahah durriyah. It is called maslahah durriyah because avoiding vaccination will cause serious and complex problems, or death is the worst. Islam really emphasizes the health of his followers, thus they can worship Allah with sincerity in their best condition. The permission to use vaccine is corollary with Islamic legal maxims darurah tubih mahsurat and ad-darurah tuqadiru biqadriha. The first legal maxim means necessities render the prohibited permissible, and the second legal maxim means necessity is to be assessed and treated proportionally.
First and foremost, the most important reference that we must refer if someone want to establish halal-based pharmaceutical product is MS 2424 2019 Halal Pharmaceutical General Requirements First Revision. This Malaysian standard explains the characteristics that approve the pharmaceuticals products are considered halal according to Sharia law and fatwa. In clause 3.9, the terms to be halal pharmaceuticals are do not contain any parts or products of animals that are non-halal, not slaughtered and not contain any najis according to Sharia law and fatwa. Next, safe for human use according to the prescribed dosage of quality and hygiene. Next, not prepared, processed or manufactured using equipment contaminated with najis according to Sharia law and fatwa. Then, do not contain any human parts or its derivatives that are not permitted by Sharia law and fatwa. And lastly, physically separated from others' product that does not meet in the statement above or have been decreed as non-halal and najis by Sharia law and fatwa in all the preparation, processing, handling, packaging, storage and distribution. In clause 4.9, for manufacturing premise and equipment, has stated that non-halal food and beverages shall not be permitted entering the manufacturing process. This is to avoid any cross-contamination from non-halal products to halal products. and any tools or elements referring to religious worship also are not permitted in this area. Method of sartu must be applied into the specific area in case to convert the najis al-mughalazah line into a halal production line, and must be supervised and verified by the particular halal authorities. The other conditions in the manufacturing premise also must refer to the PIC/S GMP guidelines and PIC/S annexes or GMP guidelines for traditional medicines and health supplements. This reference I will be explained. And meanwhile, for clause 4.17, packaging and labeling. So in this clause, the packaging and labeling shall be sweet according to the Sharia law and fatwa. This is because the packaging materials and the process included during packaging and labeling should not be contaminated with najis as well. Okay, besides, this is one of the normative references that shall be referred to in manufacturing of pharmaceutical products, which is Pharmaceutical Inspection Corporation Scheme, PICH/S, Guide to Good Manufacturing Practice for Medicinal Products. It is to control the quality of the products during inspection instead of considering the halal elements only. Adhering to both standard PIC/S and PIC/S annexes is a must to comply with GMP for medicinal products. Therefore, it is a must also to emphasize the tayyib elements as well. Then it will be a completely producing a halal product according to the Islamic thought. For example, the personnel must acknowledge his responsibilities that he shall be able to supervise the manufacture of intermediates and active pharmaceutical ingredients. For PIC/S annexes, it gives guidance for the pharmaceutical industry to follow all the standards during manufacture according to their specific pharmaceutical products that have been stipulated. For instance, some pharmaceutical industries handling the manufacture of herbal medicinal products, manufacture of liquids, cream and ointments, manufacture of medicinal products derived from human blood or plasma and other cells. Next is GMP guideline for traditional medicines and health supplements, National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency. So basically this is another guideline for pharmaceutical products under the type of traditional medicine and health supplements. It is to control the quality of the products, become a source of guidance during the inspection. Those chapters in this reference will become the self-inspection checklist in the pre-licensing, initial and pre-approval inspections. So basically there are 9 chapters in this document. The first one is quality management system. Next is personnel, premises and equipment, documentation, production, quality control, contract production and testing, distributions, complaints and product recalls, and lastly self-inspection. Those chapters will become the self-inspection checklist in the pre-licensing, initial and pre-approval inspections. Okay, now we go to Poisons Act 1952. This act is one of the acts that related with pharmaceutical products. So in order to establish halal-based pharmaceutical product, they also must adhere to this Poisons Act 1952. So I will tell the background first. I will tell the background and what is the purpose of this act. Ministry of Health gazetted this act to regulate the activity of compounding, manufacturing, storage, transport, sale, importation, processing and use of poisons. So any related manufacturer shall refer to this act to know the do's and don'ts in handling the poisons. It is to ensure the quality, safety and efficiency of the products. In section 12 in bracket 1, in the case of compounding and mixing the poisons with other substances, either poisons or not, to make medical treatment products are not allowed to be taken by any random people unless they are registered medical practitioner. Besides, this is another act that is very important in order to promote the pharmaceutical product to customers. This act is Medicines Advertisement and Sale Act 1956. Generally, this act is any relating with the advertisement such as notice, pamphlet, commentary made orally, or advertisement through light or sound shall comply with the provisions in this act. For example, using printed media, broadcast media, and internet media. So, of course, we have to know the few medicines that are not allowed to be commercialized as a treatment or prevention to the specific diseases according to the schedule of section 3. The related disease such as kidney disease, heart disease, epilepsy, tuberculosis, leprosy, malignancy, deafness, asthma, paralysis, drug dependence, diabetes, hernia, eye infections, hypertension, psychological disorder, frigidity, impaired sexual function, infertility, venereal disease, and nervous incapacity, or any ailment arising from or concerning sexual intercourse. This Act also has guidance in the prohibition of promoting in terms of advertisement relating to abortion in Section 3. This section clearly stops and prohibits any part in the publication of any advertisements referring to procuring the miscarriage of women. Moreover, in Section 4A, it is relating to the prohibition of any advertisement pertaining to qualification of skill or service of any treatment, prevention, ailment, disease and injury which offers to advise people. Nonetheless, it shall not apply to any advertisement published that was approved by the Minister or by any responsible authorities that have been stipulated referring in this section. Next, in Section 5, the penalty will be liable to those convicted for any provisions in the action of contradiction with the Section 3, 4, 4A and 4B. For the first conviction, to a fine not exceeding 3,000 ringgit or to imprisonment for any term not exceeding 1 year or to both. And in the case of a subsequent conviction, to a fine not exceeding 5,000 ringgit or to imprisonment for a term exceeding 2 years or to both. Primarily, this Act is to portray the use of ethical in promotions to avoid misleading statements to the consumers. Okay, besides, another Act that related with the pharmaceutical product is Sale of Drug Act 1952. Generally, this Act is to regulate the selling of drugs that claim to be capable of being used on humans or any animal relating to medicinal purposes. So, before that, we have to know what is the medicinal purposes. Medicinal purposes, according to the Section 2 of this Act, under interpretation including alleviating, treating, curing, or preventing a disease, diagnosing a disease, contraception, inducing anesthesia, maintaining, modifying, preventing, restoring, on interfering with the normal operation of a psychological function, controlling body weight, and general maintenance or promotion of health or well-being. Moreover, this Act also is to prevent misleading statements regarding the sales of drugs, as in Section 10 mentioned about this under the offences and penalty. In Section 10, in the bracket B, a person is committing an offence when selling a drug in any package that attaching a false statement, word, brand, label or mark. Okay, last but not least is Control of Drug and Cosmetic Regulations 1984. This regulation enhancing the importance of registered product. Thus, every product must be registered, otherwise are not allowed to sell, import, manufacture, supply, possess or administer, and the seller must have an appropriate license. For the pharmaceutical product that have done registration, the product must have mile number and also it contain original hologram on the packaging. This regulation also stressed the importance of the personnel, premise, equipment, manufacturing operations, quality control department, inspections and distributions record that can be a stringent evaluation in the product registered. In the Regulation 9 have mentioned that the registered product shall be maintained and the register shall include the first one, the number under which the product is registered. Second, the content and quantity of the active ingredients. Third, the name and address of the manufacturer. Fourth, the name and address of the product registration holder. Fifth, product registration number or product listing number. And the last one, the date of issue and expiry of the registration certificate.
So in this slide, I will discuss about issues regarding to halal pharmaceutical. So the first issue is the Vaccine Act must be enacted to preserve the interests of the country and people. The second issue that I will discuss is Malaysia's introducing halal certification for vaccine in 2020. So the third issue that I will discuss is Press Release KPK 6 September 2016, aware for sales and buy medicines online. Okay, now let's move on to the first issue, which is the Vaccine Act must be enacted to preserve the interest of country and people. So generally, Malaysia has been following several legislation instruments to conduct vaccination program. So the main aspect that become the concern of the government is the aspect of obligation of vaccine towards people. So Malaysia has been following several legislation instruments to seek answers for this aspect, because there is no specific act or enactment that are specified for the vaccine and vaccination program. So the first legislation instrument that been used in Malaysia is UNESCO Declaration 2005. So based on this declaration, Article 6 is about the consent when someone about to seek treatment. So this act is not freely used in Malaysia because it is overlapping with the Article 27 in the same declaration, which is this which Article 27 is stated that the consent is not obligated as to protect the public people. So in this articles, Article 27, okay, it must be following some requirement and also condition from the international human rights. So Malaysia has been given freedom for their citizens to choose whether they want to be vaccinated or not. But in some circumstances, they are determined to get vaccinated, such as for the frontliners, because they are in the front row to prevent COVID-19 in Malaysia. So the second legislation instrument is Federal Constitution. So in Federal Constitution, there is no allocation that specified about the vaccine and vaccination. So in these cases, Malaysia use Perkara 5/1, which is the liberty of the person, which stated that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty save in accordance with law. So this allocation underlined that freedom and guarantee as stated in the allocation is only applicable if there is no other allocation that limits it. So other allocation that been used in determining this aspect is Perkara 8. So Perkara 8 which is equality. So this allocation is about the citizenship. The citizen of Malaysia has the right to receive any treatment that any same treatment as others regarding to without looking at the rank, positions, trust, race, and also economical states. Alright. So this means that according to Perkara 8, so everyone in Malaysia is eligible to be vaccinated. Just the things that they need to consider is about themselves, whether they want to be vaccinated or not. So other than that, Malaysia are using Children Act 2001 and also Akta Pencegahan dan Pengawalan Penyakit Berjangkit 1988. So in this two act, they are not specifically for vaccine and vaccination, but they work as generally to prevent public people from COVID-19. So now, let's move on to the second issue, which is Malaysia introducing halal certification for vaccine in 2021. So regarding these issues is regarding to the false claim that been spread throughout the social media in Malaysia. So some of them claim that vaccine contains swine and also others haram things such as chemical that can bring harm, so intoxicant, and also some claim that vaccine is gives people diseases such as blood clotting and so on. So to encounter all of this false speculation, so Chief Executive Officer (CEO) of Halal Development Corporation, in Persidangan Halal Sedunia 2020 has already stated that they will be introducing new halal certification under a new scheme, which is the biology scheme. So the development of vaccine will be included in this scheme. So as we all know, Malaysia has become the first country that using a standard guideline such as Malaysian standard to ease the producer and also the service provider to obtain halal. So they've been developing halal from time to time. So currently they already have 9 schemes in halal certification. So they will be including the biology scheme to ease the government on encounter all the bad speculation about vaccine. So the CEO of HDC also stated that on the first quarter of 2021, 70% of the standard will be finished. So this is one of the great achievement in Malaysia. Okay, now let's move on to the third issue, which is press release KPK 6 September 2016. Aware for sales and buy medicines online. So online shopping has become trend since before pandemic COVID-19. So until now, and it become more trending since we are practicing new norm, which is a contactless shopping. So on 30 May until 7 June 2016, there was an operation called Operation Pangia 9, which operation that been conducted to undergoing some of the websites and also social medias that been selling medicines online. So they are being surveilled because they are involved in syndicates of selling pharmaceutical products that are not registered, and some of them are also found to be mixed with poisons and unnotified and become an unnotified cosmetics. So there are around 245 websites and 197 social media has been seized during this operation. So these issues are violating some of the provisions of law, such as the section 263 in bracket 2, the Communication and Multimedia Act 1998. So the section 263 is kewajipan pemegang lesen. So bracket 2, seseorang pemegang lesen hendaklah apabila diminta secara bertulis oleh Suruhanjaya atau mana-mana pihak berkuasa lain membantu Suruhanjaya atau pihak berkuasa lain itu setakat yang semunasabahnya perlu dalam mencegah pelakuan atau cubaan pelakuan sesuatu kesalahan di bawah mana-mana undang-undang bertulis Malaysia atau selainnya dalam menguatkuasakan undang-undang Malaysia, termasuklah tetapi tidak terhad kepada pelindungan hasil awam atau pemeliharaan pertahanan negara. So according to this section, the Communication and Multimedia Act 1998, section 263 bracket 2, so a certification holders must show their certification when they are asked to show them. So regarding to the websites and also the social medias, they are not registered, so they can't even provide any document such as their selling document as a sellers, and also the registration or notification document for the cosmetic and the product that they've been selling. So other than that, they are violating the Sale of Drugs Act 1952 under the offence of breaching regulations. So 7 bracket 1A, the Control of Drugs and Cosmetic Regulation 1984. So the regulation 7 bracket 1A, Control of Regulation Cosmetic Regulation 1984. Okay, so it stated that the regulation 7 is the prohibition against manufacture, sale, supply, importation, possession and administration. So bracket 1, except as otherwise provided in this regulation, no person shall manufacture, sell, supply, import or possess or administrator any product unless. So 1A is the product is a registered product. So these 244 websites and 197 social media has already violated this act, which needs someone to register their product or notify their product before selling it. Okay, as conclusion, Halal Pharmaceutical is projected to reach 134 billion US dollar by 2024. So regarding to this estimation, there are increase in demand for medicines that are compliant to Islamic laws. So however, Malaysia has already prepared and already established many regulatory such as MS 2424-2019 for halal pharmaceuticals, and also other legal instruments such as Poison Act 1952, Sales of Drugs 1952, Control of Drug and Cosmetics 1984, and Medicine Advertisement and Sales Act 1956. So this is to fulfill the demand for halal pharmaceuticals and also the safety of consumption by Malaysian citizens. So regarding to pharmaceutical industries, there are many issues as already arisen, such as the vaccine problem. So in this paper, we already discussed about two vaccine problem, which is the first one is Vaccine Act that does not been enacted in Malaysia, and also the second one is the vaccine halal certification. So the third issue that has arisen in the pharmaceutical industry is the sales of medicine that is not registered at national pharmaceutical regulatory agencies.